Welcome to the Simulation Survivor. Today we're going to be taming and max mutating the Procoptodon. Procoptodon means forward hill tooth. It is a simple knockout tame. Its preferred food is rare mushrooms. If you don't have those, you can feed it plant species X seed. You can find the Procoptodon on every map except for Aberration, which I wish they would have made an Aberration variant. That would have been really cool and very fitting for the map in my opinion. If you don't have a broken Aranio or some busted trank rifles like I do, I suggest eating a rare flower and leading one of these into a trap. After taming a few Procoptodons, we headed back to base and combined all their best base stats together. This is what we ended up with. Some pretty solid base stats. Nothing above 50 unfortunately, but solid melee and decent health. Now we're going to max mutate every single stat. And if you throw the Procoptodon into the bio grinder from Bob's Tall Tales, you get regular kibble. Here we are with 255 mutations into every single mutatable stat, and we're going to be doing the speed test. So here we are with no levels in the movement speed. It's a very graceful creature, doesn't move too fast. Now let's see how fast it is if we put 88 levels into movement speed, and this thing is zooming. They also have an insane jump, obviously being a kangaroo, but look at the size of that jump. Not only are they good at mobility, but they can also carry people in their pouch, like you can see me here. It looks so goofy, especially with a cape on. But it's a nice addition. They can also pick up babies. This is their main use. And if they're mate boosted, it speeds up imprinting by giving you double the imprint percentage. They have good weight as well, and if you put all 88 levels into weight, you'll have 20,000 weight, which is pretty crazy for a kangaroo. They're also decently good at getting berries, and they also harvest a fair amount of thatch from trees. Not like the best, but pretty solid. I have 5 times rates, and I was getting roughly 1,000 thatch from 3 trees. And with a decently high base weight, you could have a friend ride in the pouch and harvest things the Procoptodon cannot. It has no weight reductions though, so be mindful of that. Now let's test out the melee. With no levels in the melee, we're hitting for 556. It does the same amount for a bite and a kick. But if we put all 88 levels into melee, we hit for 1,389. A little underwhelming, but it's got a decent knockback. As you can tell here, we're knocking back Reapers. Now let's try it with UD buff and mate boost and all 88 levels into melee against a wild Giga. We're hitting for 2,309, and we're going to commit to this fight and just see if we can kill a wild Giga with mate boosted brews. Never thought I'd be trying to fight a Giga with kangaroos, but here we are. If you put all 88 levels into health, you have 166,000 health. Didn't expect it to be so high. This Giga's actually already bloody. Similar to the Aranio in the last video, the Roo has also had a TLC in the past. Look at that glow up, that old face is hilarious to look at. But that was all the way back on Evolved. I feel like it deserves another TLC in my opinion. Since the Roos had very little problems with this wild Giga, we're going to head over to the island and see if they can boss. Here we are taking on the Alpha Megapithecus, and we put 14 levels into health and 74 into melee with 112 armor saddle. Thought I'd go for higher armor since they don't do as much damage, but clearly I was wrong as they are melting this Megapithecus. It was already bloody before I could even get a good camera angle. And there goes the Alpha Megapithecus. Now let's test them against the Alpha Brood Mother, who actually got a difficulty increase in the last update with that Aranio TLC. As you can see them dangling above her. They can web you and your dinos, so watch out for that. But it didn't matter, as they had little difficulty defeating Alpha Brood Mother. Now for the real challenge. Alpha Dragon, the only flying boss that I like because it actually lands. Its fire deals 20% of a creature's base health, regardless of its armor, so you gotta watch out for that. Not to even mention it has Dimorphodon minions, which can hit your player off your tame, and it has fireballs that can also kill your player off the tame. But it didn't matter, as they had no problem defeating Alpha Dragon. Since we had no problem defeating the 3 Guardians, me and the Patreons decided to try and take on Alpha Overseer, the final boss of the island. Upon defeating the Alpha Overseer, you'll get the Alpha Implant and be able to go up another 15 levels on your character. As you deal damage to the Overseer, it will morph into one of the 3 Guardians of the island. You must defeat each of those multiple times before defeating the Overseer itself. You also have to deal with the minions who can shoot your character, and they do drop element upon defeating. They had little problem with the dragon, and after defeating the dragon, Overseer it morphed into the Brood Mother, which also they had no problem with. It then morphed into the Megapithecus, which they defeated before I could even get a good camera angle. I didn't think they'd get past Alpha Broodmother, but they defeated the Alpha Overseer and we ascended off the island. If you're ever curious about what a max mutated Procoptodon could do, now you know. Make sure to comment below which creature you would like to see me max mutate next, and it might just be in the next video. Let me know your thoughts on the Procoptodon. It did way better than I expected it to. If you made it to the end, I just want to say that I greatly appreciate you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.